it is open freedom to them also. Please express yours concerns and yours doubt too in the session. All right. So let me quickly start introducing about me. So my name is Abhijit, and total, yes, I do have 14 years of the experience into the HR field, as well as I'm the professional SAP certified consultant. Along with that, I'm a certified consultant of the SuccessFactors and SAP Project Activate Manager. So multi roles I have handled so far in my complete tenure, where I have seen about the HR operations, where I did the framing of the different kind of the policies, processes, and the deployment of all that the policies. I work as being HR heading role, where I have taken care about all the roles of the HR department, where we talk about the recruitment or the talent acquisition, the time management, T&D, L&D, and the most important, my key factor since last 14 years is the payroll. So this is very short about me. More of you came to know about me further when we start about the learning that the course. All right. So just yes, Ganu, yes. As you doing the BBA, yes, I will be come to that the point. All right. BBA after that MBA or BBA immediately to be jump up into the HR field, that is also absolutely okay. The couple of, in fact, the students, those who pursue the BBA, yes, they are now pursuing their work into the HR too. All right. I'm sorry. Just something, one link I wanted to share. I'm sharing one link. No, it is not happening. Someone from the team, Harvin team, can you please share that the link directly to everyone, because I'm not able to copy that the link regarding for the attendance. So please share that the link to everyone. All right. I believe my screen is visible to all. Is it visible to everyone? Quickly confirm to me in the chat
Yes,
box.
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello, thank you so much. So as I requested certain things to every one of you, please be with me. Second thing, yes, it's my kind commitment to every one of you, as we have the class or discussion till 10 p.m. So you have the freedom to express all your concerns and the queries. All right. You can stop me any of the moment and just raise the concern. So let me understand something about the word HR. What is meant by this HR? It is something called the human resource. Who is this human resource in any of the company or any of the organization? Prior to that, little just understand about something called the structure, something we call the organizational structure. So anyone, those who are the experienced one, can you just elaborate me more on, how the companies are running their operations for any company? What way they are running the operations, or to smooth execution of any kind of the operations in the companies, how the companies are defining something called the structure. Can anyone, you may take example of the service sector, manufacturing sector, IT sector, or any of the sector of the organization. Just quickly let me know, can anyone, how the structure is get look like? All right, let me draw the structure now on a screen. Who is at the topest level? It may be someone called CEO, or you may call MD. All right.
MD, yeah.
MD or CEO. In fact, above the MD or CEO, all time you can see the BOD. BOD, it stands for Board of Directors.
Yeah.
All right. Now further below the CEO or the MD, how the companies are getting operated. So just you can say that the smooth kind of the operations for the companies, we do require a different kind of the resources. We do require a different kind of the working professionals or the employees. So every individual have a different kind of the skill sets which they carry, and according to their skill sets, they are working in a companies. And that is what, to use that the resources, to use that the employees in a companies, while we're defining the structure, very first we forming something called the term departments. Okay, So under the CEO or under the MD or under the POD, you can finding out the human resource. You can finding out the
Finance.
finance, marketing, very good. Or you may call the IT department. All right. Likewise, more on you can finding out such a department.
Sir, PPC. To
Right,
add the
absolutely
PPC
true.
department.
Absolutely.
And it is CEO, you have to mention
Yes,
one another
which
position. There are president.
I'm coming at the point. That is what. Now, when we talk about the presidents, when we talk about the vice presidents, when we talk about the general managers, when we talk about the managers, what is it? It is something we may call it is a hierarchy. Now, coming further to this, the structure part, under the human resource department, it is getting further dividations of something called the sub department, or you may call the roles, or you may call the verticals. So which all the verticals are working under this HR department? Can anyone know? A few of
Payroll manager.
very
Time
good.
office.
Very
Talent
good.
acquisition manager.
Excellent one. So very first, I may write talent acquisition.
Compensation management.
Very good. Or another word for the talent acquisition team is something called recruitment. All right. So either or you may use the word. Another one vertical which are operative under that the HR department is something called time management or time administration. One more is all about payroll. Then this P&D, right? General administration.
Or a personal management.
Which one?
Or a general administration or a personal manager.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
One more role we call as a comp and bean. What is meant by comp and bean? Compensation and benefit team. They are the one who does defining the structure, like something called CTC structure, or you may call the cost to the company structure. All right. So there are many other such a verticals or the roles or the sub
Performance
departments.
management.
Performance, PMS, that is a part of this comp and ben team. Okay. They are falls under the comp and ben team. All right. So this is overall what it is. This is something we call it is a vertical. We call it is a sub departments. We call these are the roles. Those are getting operative under the human resource department. And now here, please just little understand by you all, such a sub department wise, such a roles wise, such a vertical wise, or such a skill set wise, we do have a something called opportunities in a company. And someone who is taking care about all these roles, that role we call as a HR journalist. So specifically, if you're working being only into the talent acquisition, then that role we call as a talent acquisition specialist. If you're working only as a time administration, definitely. Yes.
Sir, we can mention one more department. It is IR and
absolutely
labor
true.
laws.
Absolutely true. IR is also there. Industrial relationships is there. The very important as far as labor laws.
Yes, right. It's a one department only.
Absolutely. It falls under the IR only, right?
Yes,
It's
right.
a part of the IR only.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a major part of it.
This is something I may say that this is the backbone of that the HR department, because when we are defining something called the different sort of the HR policies and the processes, while we are defining that the policies and the process and while we are executing that the things, yes, we have to be considered the labor laws. Because based out on the labor laws only, we can consider and we are putting that the clauses under that the policy, and then only we can start forming that the policies. So I can say that, yes, this is the backbone to define the policies, and policies are the backbone for the any organization for the smooth execution of the operation. All right. Now, after this, then we are defining the something called the hierarchy. like in the very extremely big size of the companies or the organizations, you may finding out these role-wise, the topic hierarchies. All right. Like under the talent acquisition itself, you may finding out the hierarchy like the president and the vice president and the senior general manager, executive vice presidents, and the so this is something called defining the hierarchies falls under the vertical. All right. I believe up to here it's clear to everyone. So this is something look up you the freshers one towards this as a career opportunities falling under the HR department. Here I can say that payroll is something critical one. This labor law IR is again a little tough one because if you are following, take example in the manufacturing sector, here you have to be grab the expertise. If I start working and acting in any kind of the IT organization, I can say that this is yes, equal important, but that not play the major one role as far as IT sector is concerned. But yes, in the manufacturing, a lot of IR acts we need to be considered. All right. I'll put one of the very simple example regarding the comp and bean. What is meant by comp and bean? It is something called compensation and benefit, where we talk about one of the role of the comp and bean team is to define the salary structure. Now, what is meant by salary structure? Or you may call the CTC. CTC stands for cost to the company. So when you are defining this cost to the company, here you need to be consider a lot of IR Act, a lot of labor acts. One of the major act here you need to be considered is MW. MW, what is meant by MW? Minimum Wage Act. So this minimum wage act is getting varies from the state to state. The minimum wage act varies from the state to state. So while you are defining that the CTC structure, which location the correspondent employee is getting work, there you need to be considered that the act. A lot of amendments are happened in the MW Act, and under the MW Act, this is like that under the MW Act, there is a one component, pay component, which is something called the DA. So DA, it is called the dearness allowance. So that dearness allowance amounts are get changed every after the 6 months. I don't know how many of you are aware the experience one, but this is for the experience one. DA heading you can merge under the special allowance. So that is allowed. But the point is that when we're doing that, the things, the declaration has to be submit to something called the labor. Second thing, important again, the Labor Act point of view is concerned. There are a lot of compliances we need to do that every month, a lot of compliances we have to be followed on with respect to like PF compliance, ESIC compliance, LWF in case, okay, PT compliance, income tax related TDS. Okay, so TDS, yes, you have the feasibility in a quarter, you can do that, the deposit of the TDS. But yes, it is a part of something called that the compliances. So that thing also
Yes, I see.
need to be considered. While ESIC, yes, ESIC stands for Employee State Insurance Corporation, right? So it is a kind of the insurance. So again, when you are applicable of the ESIC, couple of things you need to be considered, because whom the ESIC is entitled, there is some criteria. The criteria is all about, it is something aligned with your monthly gross amount. So if your gross is equal to and less than the 21,000, then that the concern is entitled for the ESIC. Again, when you are calculating the ESIC, you need to be considered of employee and the employer portion. Then together we have to do that the compliances. Similar way, there is something called the provident fund, and I believe that a slight amendment as far as the PF is concerned. Inside the PF earlier, it was a 12% on basic plus DA, and the amendment act was you have the freedom where you can freeze that the amount. Freeze, how to freeze? Your monthly gross amount minus HRA amount. Then after that, the amount which comes there, if that the amount is more than the 21,000, sorry, If that the amount is more than the 15,000, then you can freeze that the max contribution on 15,000, that should be 12% by the employee. And employer is also 12%, but that the further 12% is furtherly get bifurcate in between PF as well as the pension. So towards the PF, it goes 3.67% of the 15,000, and towards the PF, it goes 8.33% of that the 15,000. So this is a one kind of the rule that we need to be considered. There is another one option here. The already PF Act has already given that in case if that the amount is more than the 15,000, then yes, you can want on that the amount of 2. But from the employer point of view, the contribution will be get freeze on the 15,000 only. Now, what if my monthly gross is less than the 15,000? Then yes, whatever at actual the gross is there, you have to be more on that. But the point is that here the gross should be considered monthly gross minus HRE. That is what the amendment inside that the PF. All right. So this is I'm just slightly touching some points here. I cannot go in depth because a couple of things are there that I need to be covered up. A lot of things are there. So the simple point is here is that whenever we are defining this comp and BAIN, whenever we are defining the salary structure, we need to be consider all these amended acts because that should be incorporated in that the CTC part. Coming to the second point is all about the policies and the processes. Take simple example, policies respect to time office. If I want to define the time office policy, here again, you need to be considered a lot of labor acts. Labor Act, one of the simple act we need to be here consider is all about the working culture and the timings. Can anyone elaborate me? What is the minimum hours that everyone can be work in a day? What is the minimum hours we have
8 to 9.
work?
8 to 9. 9:30 last
okay,
week.
8 hours in which case and 9 hours in which case?
8 hours for the companies like working under the shifts.
Okay, that means as simple in a nutshell, you can summarize. It depends on the work culture. Work culture means what? Whether your company is operating a 6 days work culture or the 5 days work culture. If the company is operating the 5 days work culture, in that case, I can put the 9 hours. So in a week, how much hours we supposed to be work? It should not be crossed more than 48 hours.
48.
48 hours in a week. If you work more than the 48 hours, it's a one compulsory off has been needed. Now, what if someone is working more than the 48 hours? Then he or she is entitled for something called OT payout, overtime payout. Or else in the IT company, we are doing something called compensatory leave. Or when you are defining that the policy, you need to be considered this working culture. Then only your policy becomes a strong one. All right. So this is what a couple of things are there. A lot of such each and every policies document when we are defining or when we are defining any kind of the processes too, it's supposed to be have some kind of the base with respect to labor law. This is as simple about that thing. Coming to the point of the major one about the payroll. Payroll, believe me, a complete critical one. And in criticality, yes, I'm already working on the US payroll, UK payroll, as well as UA continent payroll and the Indian payroll system too. Out of all these countries, yes, Indian payroll is one of the critical one. All right. When we talk about the Indian payroll, we have to consider the couple of things. We something call here the statutory and the non-statutory deductions. When we talk about the statutory, these things we have to be considered, like your PF, your ESIC, your labor welfare fund, your income tax, your professional tax. Now, talking about the professional tax too, it varies from the state to state. Talking about ESIC, as I already said, talking about income tax, it is standard one across the country. It not get varies. Talking about LWF, Labor Welfare Fund, Yes, again, it varies from the state to state. It varies from the location to location. So when we are calculating the payroll, we have to be consider all these parameters. So when we talk about the payroll, we need to be considered about the inputs. Inputs is something we called about the employee master related the field data, where we need to be considered the properly, we need to be considered about the employee's first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, date of joining, the gender, the salary breakup details, and lots many things. Now, I'll just simply put one example with respect to gender. Now, gender should be properly, we need to be considered, because I'll put the example for the state of Maharashtra. In the state of Maharashtra, gender wise, the statutory deduction are getting varies, something called the professional tax. There are different kind of the slabs. For example, for the male employees, there is no professional tax. If salaries, your monthly gross is from 0 to 7,500, there is no any professional tax will be get deducted. But if your monthly gross is 7,501 up to 10,175 rupees will be get deducted. Talking about for the female employees, there is no professional tax deductions if her monthly gross is in the range of 0 to 10,000. There is no professional tax. But if her monthly gross is more than the 10,000, then directly we have to be deducted 200 rupees. Same case in the male employees too. After the 10,000 salary, it is again the 200 rupees. So the point is that this is something associated or assigned with that the gender field. Talking about the date of joining, it should be properly, we need to be considered, because there is something called the proportionate calculations. Again, with the help of date of joining, we are calculating the something called the services in a company, which is again aligned and triggered with something called your gratuity payout. Again, we have to be considered properly date of joining, because again, it is getting aligned with the calculations of number of leaves. Someone who is living from the company at that moment, we need to be considered the payout. Some different kind of the payouts are there. In case of two kinds of the payroll we talk, a regular payroll as well as the off-cycle payroll or the exit payroll. So at the time of exit of the payroll, we need to be considered the number of year of service, because based on that the service, it is aligned with the gratuity payout. Based out on the date of joining, it is aligned with the number of leaves, and based out on the number of leaves, whatever the number of the remaining leave balances are there, we have to be paid something called the leave encashment. So a lot of such checkpoints are there which are connected with that the input field. After the input, then we have to be processed. While processing these parameters, we need to consider, and then finally it comes as an output results, and then output results are getting mapped and aligned with the reporting. The reporting part is something called your slips, then your a couple of things like your ESIC report, MWF report, all that the statutory reports are getting part of or aligned with that the reporting part. So this is all about that the payroll. So you have the thorough knowledge about this all these fields. This part I can say, talking about the time administration, is their rule. They are the one who is responsible to administration of the time activities, like keeping monitor of being individuals in and out timing, where you may call it is a swap in, swap out. Another one role is about keeping administration of the shifts. Like we have a different kind of the shift patterns too, like first, second, third, or the general. Likewise, yeah, number of shifts are there. If you look up the manufacturing company, so the administration of that is again the role of the time administration. Talking about the calculation of these leaves is also the role of this time administration. And the most important, monitoring of that the overtime calculations. That is also the role of this time administration. As well as in the year end, we are allocating that the number of leaves, like a different kind of the leaves, like the paid leave, earned leave, privileged leave, maternity leave, parental leave, educational leave, sabbatical leave. So monitoring all these leave types or the leave management is under the part of that the time administration. This is one of again sensitive role. Based out on the time management, it depends the payroll processing. Because while we are calculating the payroll, we do require something called the number of paid days, and based out on that, the payroll will be get processed. So here this activity is parallelly dependent. Now, talking about this time, as I already said, we have to be defined a couple of policies which are aligned with this IR. Then it comes to the point of this talent acquisition, or you may call something called the recruitment team. Now, what is their role? They are the one who does or prepares something called the manpower record report. Based out on the manpower record, the one who collects the job descriptions or the requirements from the departments or the heads or from the company. They are the one who asks to prepare the JD document, job descriptions, and after that, they are the one who do the start sourcing the candidates from the different social platform or the different portals. You may call it is a Naukri, you may call the LinkedIn, you may call the Monster, and you may call it sometimes now FB is also using for that purpose. So they are the one who do the job posting on the different portals, and from there, the best fitted skills resources, they're making the calls, they're lining up the interviews or the scheduling the interviews, the HR interviews as well as the technical panel interviews, and the best find resources. They're finally, furtherly taking care about the communication part with the concerned one. It is the complete responsibility of this talent team. They are the one who might be in some companies are the part of releasing the something called the offer letter, but some companies it's not their role to make the salary negotiation. So salary negotiation it comes under the comp and bending, or it is some kind of the senior level. They might be do that the thing, but here in some companies I'm talking, and not with all the companies, but yes, major of the companies too. Sometimes the talent acquisition team might be do the salary negotiation because they do have one kind of the budgeted figure. Based out on the budget figure only, they start negotiating. They cannot cross that the budget figure. But in exceptional case, if someone I wanted to be give above that the budget figure, in that case, yes, they have to take the help or the support from the committee. All right. So this is a one by one, all about that the rules and the verticals which falls under the HR department. And I believe now slide get an idea. All these words are interconnected each other. In one or other activity, they're connected with the other department. Sorry, the rules or the other verticals falling under the HR department. So to the point of here is that you want to grow your career ladder in terms of the position, in terms of grabbing the the handsome payout, the salary and the pay perks, having the knowledge or upgrading yourself with all these keywords will be all time benefited to you. This is what the core, just understand from all this discussion. If you are wanted to become a specialist in one of the specialist, one of the role, visible. If you want to be the HR analyst, at least yourself to great with the other skill sets. All right. I believe there anyone have any doubt, you can raise to me. It should be one discussion. कुछ doubt है किसी को? Any doubt, or should I move on? Just quickly confirm to me in the chat box. Can I move? Can I move with everyone's permission? Can I move on? Please confirm to me. Yes or no? Can I move on? Okay, fine. I got some responses in my direct message window. All right. Now, chalo, let me show you quick one, the PowerPoint presentation. Then again, I'll come back on the Excel because certain things I wanted to discuss. All right. So I believe you can able to see the presentation. Let me quickly go through with the presentation to by all. So let me see about this something called HR. HR now literally getting the idea of because we call the intermediator between employee and employer. And yes, it's true. Choose the website, pass that the employer, they are the messages. They pass that site being an employee instead of defining again communicate. There is something important. So just I'm so am I audible to everyone? Suddenly I got stuck. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes,
Hello.
sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Your
Yes,
voice is breaking in
audible.
between.
So suddenly, yeah. So suddenly, I don't know. Kind of some kind of the technical issue was there. Suddenly, I
Yeah.
got disconnected.
Sir, you are not
So
clearly audible.
I'm not clearly
Yeah, yeah.
audible. Just hold
Your
on.
voice is
Sir, your
breaking.
voice is breaking, sir.
Now am I clearly audible? Hello. Am I clear? Still, it's breaking. Hello.
Sir, your voice is breaking,
Still
sir.
same.
Not
Still
audible.
is same.
Still, it's same one. I believe. Is it clear now? Yes, still it's breaking.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes,
clear.
clear. Yes, clear, sir.
You're audible, sir.
It's a clear one, right?
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, right.
I don't know. Suddenly, it's got stuck somewhere. All right. Just a moment. Let me still join from here.
Recording in progress.
So, let me leave from here. All right. So I'm talking or discussing about they are the one who are dealing with something called about the employees termination and the employees retention. So terminations here in case of a kind of some mismatch or breaching the code of conduct. So that case, yes, we can terminate the being individual employees. So while you are processing with the terminations also, this labor laws or these policies will be the backbone again for the HR as well as the employee to execute that action. Separation in case of the formal resignations or a leaving by the being individual, in case if they wish to grabbing some other opportunities. So that is in the case of the being, then yes, it is something aligned with the company law and policies are maintained by the HR team. So a lot of upgradations are happening. So as and when the upgradations are there, it is the responsibility of being HR to be considered and to be incorporate that the things in HR policies and the processes. All right. So this is what all about the slightly role of being into the HR. How many I expect the package after the yes, surely. See, it depends on the company to company. It depends on the what way you are expressing at the time of interview. But I can say averagely CTC or the packages which the one who has already got trained from this course, they're getting in the range of around 3.5 and above. More of I'll ask to sharing the list and other things to the team. All right, so they will be in touch. All right. Minimum, that is what I can say. It's get starts from 3.5 and above. In some cases, yes, they got even 2 point. So that will be there. All right, just tell one just see about the need the HR company just to take the IR to motivate and maintain this one of the important where we talk about the employee engagement kind of things. Actually, in terms of the source or the employees, compensation in terms of finding at the CTC and designing the salary structure, development in terms of career planning as the training and the most important part is about the O part or the OD, organizational development. Just come to everyone's the concerns, huh? Yes, right. I'll come to all's concerns. All right. This is, I think, I'll just skip these slides. All right. All the measures, the staffing coordinator, HR analyst, HR director or the deputy director, a benefit administrator, personal manager, the vice president, president, the designated roles you can able to see. Something about the HR life cycle, which starts from the recruitment, then onboarding process, enablement, like we are enabling or upgrading some kind of organizing training programs, development, retention, separation, and attraction. This is completely today's scenario and kind of retention of the best resources, retention of the concerned employees with the organization in the long run is one kind of the challenge. So here the point is that if you want to retain the employees in the long way, yes, your policies play extremely very important role. I don't know whether everyone has heard this term or not, but there is something called attrition rate. Now, what is meant by the term attrition? Attrition is something called inflow and outflow of the being individual employees in that the segment in the company in the specific departments. So based out on the attrition rate, yes, it will be easy for the HR department as well as the organization or the company to defining the retention policy. So that retention policy, if you want to prepare it, it is aligned with something again called that the attrition rate. So please understand overall the importance of this complete life cycle where we talk about again the attraction. Attraction in terms of while we are negotiating the salary, which are the heads are there that which can interact or attract to the concerns. So this is again the very important HR life cycle. Okay, let's see about the course. What are the things which we all will be going to deal here? As I have discussed about labor law and the legal compliances, talking about the compensation and the benefit, performance management, HR policies, employee relationships management, recruitment and selection, analytics, and about the data cleaning and much more. This is what overall we all will be going to deal under this course. All right. This is something very important. I'll just take little time on here. Something we all will be going to learn that something called the cross-module integrations. Now, what is mean by here the cross-module integration, where we are a little going to learn about the advanced Excel. A simple example, we talk here about a VLOOKUP, the HLOOKUP, some kind of the forms and the formulas. That is what we are going to learn. And the most important point here is all about, we all will be going to little learn about the SAP HR. Please, every one of you understand these things, because again, we all are upgrading with the today's trend now. Just the news are flashing all about this COVID situation. Again, a kind of news are appearing that it might be again hitting to the market. But please just review yourself in the prior to this, the two phases, which all the role is more exposing in the market or in the companies. I think you just analyze that the things.
Department.
It is something about someone who have any kind of the technological knowledge. Operations, I can say, yes, operation is fine. But the point is that are that the roles are more exposed? Because if I want to see the human touch, operationally, I should be there. But understand someone who have any kind of the little technology or the IT kind of the knowledge, believe me, their role are more exposed one. Because sitting at the home, just having the access of the internet, you can start working and acting. I don't want you to be in the present in the company premise. So the point is that as far as the SAP is concerned, SAP it's one of the German-based IT software company which do have the presence around 160 plus different countries, and they already have the presence in all the segments or all the sectors like IT, manufacturing, and lot many sectors. SAP already have their marks. So here in our course, we are integrating your HR operation along with SAP. So this thing, which is something very important. And yes, again, talking about this coming the COVID phase hitting to us, please learn any kind of the ERP software. So there are a couple of ERP softwares are there. I'll put the competitor's name like Oracle. Then you may take the help of Adrenal. Then SAP is there. Then SuccessFactory there. Workday is there. So these are the many of the ERP organizations or the companies you can see in a market. Out of that, I can say SAP, they are the pioneer leading. And that the pioneer leading course contains, we already incorporated here. Any doubts by anyone? Quickly let me know on this page. Anyone have any doubt here? This is something very important, something very interesting one. We are not learning only operations part. Along with that, we are taking the exposure of the SAP 2. Again, under the SAP 2, we have a different kind of the rules there, like end user role, like consultant
Sir,
role.
sir, SAP HR, for this we need to pay separately or it comes under generalist only?
Sorry to say, dear, but I'll ask the concern one on this part too. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that part more of our team will be going.
Sir,
But yes,
yeah,
a slight
okay, sir.
overview is there, which is the part of this.
Apart from this, you are
model.
going to teach advanced Excel, which are used for the basics
Yes,
of
absolutely.
HRM in the
Advanced
company.
Excel also. Yes, yes, yes. We are going to use
And
that
communication
also.
skills also.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. That is also most important, and that is also we are going to teach. All right.
Sir, how many students may have in the session for the regular, for the weekends, every weekends?
There is ongoing batches there. I think now the recent one is 30 plus different students are there. Max, you can say 10, 15 students are there. We are not taking much crowd also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, sir.
This is about the performance management. This also we are going to learn. The types of compensation like base pay. Medari, if you don't mind, can you just make me as a host? Because I think once I left the meeting, you become as a host. So can you just keep me assigned as a host key? Made me as a host, just click on my name. There are 3 dots and there you can made me as a host. Medari Vardhan, am I audible to you? Can you just made me as a host? Okay, fine. Second thing about the HR partners and the roles. Who are they and what kind of the responsibilities are there? So in the, I think this is, we already discussed, I'm just skipping it. Huh? Elements of the employees relations. Screening and the shortlisting, what way we are shortlisting the resumes. These are the some kind of the steps we all will be going to see. All right. Now let's understand little about the 𝐸𝐴𝐻. So yes, we started our journey in the year 2013. We based in the San Francisco, that is in the California. And yes, we are the competence development organization. We completely offer the focused learning solutions and we cater the diverse audience from the varying industries and academics. So yes, our course contains, which we already carried, it is already recognized by the many industries. Okay, this is all about us as being team 𝐸𝐴𝐻. And more of about us, we have the client database is almost, you can say 4 lakhs plus different learners are with us since 2013. We deliver the self-paced training to the client base of 2 lakhs plus different learners. We have the providing around 120 plus different courses. As far as the vendors are concerned, the corporate vendors are concerned, we do have 180 plus. All right, and you can say as far as the college associations are concerned, more than 110 plus. All right, this is all about us. Talking about the program features, it's a 6 months live training program. You may have access to all the recorded video lectures, access to all the e-learning portals, placement assistance, definitely it is there. Internship assistance, it is also there. 12 different kind of the boot camp sessions are there where we talk about some kind of the skill upgradation kind of the boot camps. A 1-year gold membership benefit is, it is also there. 5 plus different soft skill training sessions, and the most important 24/7 support team is there. So any of the present, any of the moment, if you feel any kind of the concerns or the queries, you just have the word with the that the support team, and yes, you will be getting issues will be getting resolved. This is what about the program feature. Talking about more about how the training will get work. It is a kind of the presentation in terms of audio, video, online meetings. User manuals are there. hands-on sessions, more of the hands-on session as I spoke about a little about the payroll, but in actual scenarios, we are going to see actual what way we supposed to be calculate the payroll, how to be consider the inputs, what way we need to be considered that the PF, PSLC, what kind of the formulas we have to be put. So manually everything we are going to see. A lot of hands-on sessions and discussions and activities where we talk about a lot of case-to-case scenarios. Here we talk about the manufacturing scenarios, IT sector scenarios. So that is what we will be going to see in our complete course. Any doubt by anyone up to here? Quickly let me know. In program detail, as I just discussed, as far as the fees are concerned, so it is 134,500. More about it, you can have the word with the relationship manager or someone who has spoke to you. Yes, they are the one who will be going to touch on it. I'm sorry, but I'm not authorized one about negotiating of the salaries part. It's with that the team, so you can have the more word on it. All right. Can note down the email addresses with more about India Harvin, you can see. So please just note down one number. It's a 981953 You can directly call to that the number and you can have the word more about the fees, more about anything further. If you want to discuss about the placement assistant and the company's name and many more things, it is with that the number. You can also write an email to hello@hindiharvin.com. All right. So this is all about us. Thank you so much, everyone. Quickly now, I'll keep the forum to be open for if any queries, any concerns, any questions would like to ask to me. I'm exactly done. It's now 10 p.m. So do let me know any one of you have any queries, any concerns regarding understanding about the things. Any issues, anything anyone would like to ask from me? If no issues, then with this, thank you so much. We can hold. I believe everyone's doubts has been get cleared. If anything, again, I'm asking, the forum is kept it open. You may ask to me. If no doubts, then thank you so much, everyone. We can hold here then. Any doubts, sir, by anyone? You have any doubts? No doubts?